Welcome back. With me right now is Bert Moldow from Third Mutual, and always good to have you on, Bert. We've got several things to talk about today.
Very good.
So I'm going to kind of let you go in the order that you want. You gave me a list here, but you brought in something else as well. So
Right.
whatever order you want to go in today.
Okay. The first thing that I had wanted to talk about was homeowners associations.
Okay.
I think, interestingly, I came across this article, and I got to thinking about Laguna Woods. We're a homeowners association,
Right.
particularly Third Mutual. And the title of this thing is The Horrors of Homeowners Associations. And I'd like to sort of read it.
Sure.
Because,
Where did you come across this, by the way? Who published this?
I got this off the internet.
Okay.
Okay. And it says basically, governed by boards of directors, homeowners ostensibly choose by their peers to represent the interests of their communities. HOAs are organizations that have become somewhat infamous for imposing arbitrary fines and liens on unpopular or rogue homeowners who making up shit as they go along, treating people unfairly, enforcing strict adherence to their rules, collecting fees, and acting irrationally or illegally. Okay, and the people who sit on their boards are often petty, vindictive, utterly incompetent, and or control freakish. Regardless, anyone who wants to move into a housing development ruled by an HOA has to agree to follow the HOA rules, which can prove troublesome for anyone who's even slightly individualistic or simply laissez-faire about the color of their neighbor's driveway. You know, when you pick up our weekly Globe and you read about what people are saying, you sort of say to yourself, my God, what a horror. And what people do not realize is that the directors who sit on these boards, including myself, are homeowners.
Right.
Okay, and you know, we're not doing anything arbitrarily. Okay, what we are concerned about, okay, is the value of our homes, the appearance of our property, and the survival, and I mean survival, of this community. And I say that seriously because this is where I brought in a thing called the Breeding Wheel Report.
Right.
And it talks about the uncertain future of common interest developments. And some of the things that they bring out, you know, are as a development gets older, your maintenance costs continue to go up.
Right.
They point out that 50 years ago, in our case, the construction of our buildings was wood. And in many cases, some of that wood was stolen. I was told by a friend the other day that, you know, we basically said the wood supports of the wall have to be 18 inches apart. That's by code. And he says he went to hang some pictures, and he trying to find the stud, and he couldn't find the stud. And it was more like 20 or 22 inches apart. Well, he started to inquire about this, and he found out that when building was taking place, okay, they would allocate so much wood, so many beams per building. And during the night, people would come and steal this wood. They didn't have enough wood. And so what they did is they were spacing the structures apart.
Wow.
So you can understand, right?
Yeah.
That this is really a significant problem.
Yeah, sure.
We do not have the highest quality building in our facility, in our homes.
Right.
Okay. So it's going to introduce problems, and we've got to deal with those problems. Okay, we've got to deal with basically the structural inadequacies of our buildings. Our maintenance costs just are constantly going out of the roof. For instance, our sewers. Now sewers, life-wise, typically will last from 50 to 80 years. We are now encountering, you know, we're past 50 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we are encountering the need to go back and relook at our sewers and do something about the problem. I mean, perhaps we're named Laguna Woods. Okay, you get enough trees, and they're going to get into your sewer lines.
Yes, they are.
Okay, and this is going to present a problem for you. Okay, and yet, you know, we've got a lot of tree huggers that live in this community. And so we want to try to do something about it. Well, we found a way that which we can do something about it, which is relining these sewer pipes. Okay, but when you take a look at the length and the amount of sewer pipes that we have in this community, you're probably looking at, over the next 20 years, something in the neighborhood of a $40 to $50 million expense, maybe even more. And then we, of course, now, copper piping. Again, copper pipes do indeed begin to get pinholes in them.
Yes,
we
they
begin
do.
to get leaks. Okay, and again, we're at that point, age-wise, where we have to do something about it. We came up with an epoxy program. But again, that epoxy program is not cheap. And so we're attempting to allocate funds every year, but even so, we've got probably 20 or 30 years worth of pipes to reline.
Yeah.
And they're going to break, and they're going to leak, and it's going to cause all sorts of problems for us.
Right.
So there's another issue that we have to deal with. And then we got our normal maintenance, the painting of the buildings, the re-roofing. I mean, we've got tremendous expenses that are ahead of us. Our concrete, we've just established this year a concrete program to get out there and deal with the unevenness of our concrete that's been due to settling,
Right.
okay, and cracking. So that's another issue that adds to our costs. Then we've got the biggie, dry rot. These buildings were wood buildings. They had wood on the external surface, and that introduced dry rot. Dry rot's basically getting into our wood. We've instituted a program which basically said, in the future, we will not approve any future construction that is dry rot exposed to the external surface of the building. So people that have terraces today,
Right.
okay, we're offering them an option. In fact, we're going to be discussing it in M&C today,
Okay.
okay, about whether we should be charging to take it down or whether actually offer them the option of taking those terraces down, okay, free. Because we would save on the maintenance of fixing dry rot in those wooden structures and painting them every 10 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so one thing would offset the other, and it would be to our advantage to do something like that.
Now, when you talk about those terraces, are you talking about people just have covered their patio, or are you talking about the balconies, the wood? Because I know in certain areas.
All.
Okay.
All.
And would that mean if they took that option, you would eliminate their balcony? Or
No, we would not just change the material.
Okay, great. Okay.
Change them. In fact, we're now doing LH21 stairs on the external side of
Right.
these buildings. And what we've done is we said, hey, why do we have wood beams here? And we took the wood out and we're putting in steel.
Okay. All right.
So this is also the railings on some of the LH21 buildings with these wood spindles that required turning and painting and sanding every time.
Yeah.
I was driving down the street once, building across from me is an LH21, and I had observed that it was like 3 weeks or more that they were just working on those spindles.
Wow.
Yeah, big expense. So what we've done is we've said no more spindles. We're taking that out and putting in metal.
Okay. All right.
So this is the type of thing that you can do and we are doing.
Yeah.
So
But you're right. Looking ahead, it's not problems that are going to go away with just a 1 or 2 year fix.
they're just coming.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes we get these special things that hit us. Remember the flooding that we had a
Right.
few years back? That was an expense that was well over $2 million. That was an unexpected expense.
Yeah.
And the thing that people in this community, I don't think realize, is that they are unique. They talk about how much money do you spend on assessments. The average HOA, assessment-wise, not including amenities, is charging $200 to $400. Okay, the $400 basically are the older communities, and
Right.
$200 are the new ones. They don't have any maintenance costs.
Yeah.
What they don't realize, okay, is that there's an additional $200 for GRF, for all of the amenities that we have, but from the homeowner's perspective, we're only charging a little over $400. That's one thing that they do not recognize. And I think it's important they do.
Right.
Okay. But there's additional things that they should recognize about amenities. Okay, and that is that we have things called a reserve. This community in 52 years has never had a special assessment.
That's true.
You go out
Yeah.
and look at some of these communities around us where they're charging $400, and all of a sudden these people are getting hit with huge special assessments, maybe for the roofing, maybe for something else. In this community, there has never been a special assessment, and that is really something in
Yeah.
52 years.
Yeah. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, so that, we're unique, okay?
Yes.
And people don't recognize this, don't appreciate this.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and our assessments are going to probably have to go up. One of the problems that we also have had is a political problem. past boards, are very reluctant to raise assessments. They want to be popular.
Yeah.
They want to get reelected. Okay, they have their little things, and I know third board is not that way anymore. I mean, we're recognizing we've got some very serious problems. We're out now hiring consultants to come in and take a look at these problems. We've just recently looked to hire a consultant to come in and evaluate 20 of our building structures for dry rot and find out how bad are they.
Some more others other than what's already been looked
We're
at.
selecting different type buildings.
Okay.
Okay, trying to get some feel as to how large a problem are we really dealing with.
Okay.
I know lighting. Okay, we just bought our street lights.
Right, right.
Okay, or at least we signed the contract. And we're bringing in a consultant who now is going to evaluate, okay, the dispersion and intensity of these lights, is going to make a recommendation on how we can improve our lighting. They know we want to go to LED to cut the cost of electricity. But in many cases, we've got lights that are within trees. We can cut back the trees a certain amount. But really, what we want to do is get that light projected out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're thinking in terms of adding arms. But in any event, this is why we want to add, get a consultant in here, okay, that can really tell us what's the best thing that we can do. So,
Right. Yeah.
walkway lighting, same issue. We got terrible walkway lighting.
Yeah, always have.
Oh my God. So we have a consultant out right now, okay, who's basically reevaluating all of our walkway lighting. And he's supposed to come back and give us some recommendations on what we might be able to do to improve things.
Okay.
Okay, again, an expense,
Yeah, ongoing.
ongoing, right?
That's true. Another thing you wanted to talk about today were elections, right?
Yes. In a way, I want to talk about elections, but Saturday I attended a memorial. Okay, Denny Welsh.
Right.
And I know you probably have interviewed Denny
Oh,
numerous
hundreds
times.
of times maybe. I
Numerous
don't know,
times.
but yes.
And she is just a loss to
Right.
this community.
Yeah, she is.
This was a woman that was involved in everything, and an initiator,
Yes, she was.
a pioneer.
Yes.
I mean, she meant a lot to the community. And there are others in the community that volunteer their time and do things. But we're a community, at least Third Mutual alone, is like 8,000, 9,000 people.
Right.
Okay? We've got the potential for more Denny Welshes.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
they're not there. What it takes, I don't know, to get these people to recognize that they are members of a community, that there's nothing more rewarding than to offer your services, particularly any skills that you might have, to your community. And the benefits are strictly not financial, I assure you.
Right. That's true.
Okay, but it's still very rewarding. I mean, I have found it to be rewarding. When suddenly, after 3 years of hard effort, I see solar going up on the roof of our buildings to cut our electrical costs. Great feeling.
Yeah.
When I get LED lighting going into our buildings, okay, great feeling. Anybody seen the LH21s or the garden villas and their rec rooms, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And
So-
I know you started on a lot of that before you were on a board. I
Right,
remember you
right.
coming in and talking.
Well, that's what got me on the board, and guess who got me
Yeah.
on the board? Who told me I should run?
Denny probably,
Denny.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Went over to her office in Starbucks.
Yeah.
Great lady.
Yeah.
Great lady.
Yeah, she was. She'll be missed.
Yeah. So,
All right. So, one of the things that, in fact, I just got information on this about elections is that there may be a vacancy.
There is.
Correct? There is.
I suspect that Annette, who's a wonderful, wonderful contribution, or
Right.
addition to our board from last year, we're going to lose her. I'm
Right.
sure.
And remember that the meeting for that is coming up.
Yes.
Which I think is it Wednesday? Yeah, the corporate members, JRF. She ran for the JRF board, so we won't know 100% until that day, of course. But
We also got an opening for our representative on VMS,
that's true. Yes.
so we're looking for somebody to fill that role as well.
Okay.
So Here again, we're looking for people. The other thing, you know, when you want to say volunteer, we have committees. Okay, you know, you don't have to spend the amount of time that I spend, okay, or some of the board members are spending, if you have specific skills, okay, and can offer it. A lawyer, an architect,
Yeah.
okay, somebody that knows about communications, advertising. I mean, we have the, you know, the communications committees, we have the energy committees, we have M&C in terms of structure, if you know anything about structures. I mean,
Yeah, a lot you can get involved in here.
right, you can become an advisor,
Yes.
and they are invaluable to us. You know, they can get out there and do some research for us, okay? They can add what they know.
Yeah.
When
They
it's,
can. Yeah.
and we need people like that. And here's an opportunity, you know, still doesn't take you away from your golf or your tennis or whatever else might interest you, you know, because it's not basically a full-time job. And I got to admit, being a director is a full-time job.
Yes, it is. Well, just remember that, you know, if you're interested in joining the third board, more than likely there will be a vacancy coming
Yes,
up. So,
I'm pretty
and the VMS board.
And the
for
VMS
third.
board as well.
Okay. All right, very good. Anything else you'd like to add for today?
No, and as I say, Denny was a great loss.
Yeah, she was. And I think, you know, one of the nicest things she would do yearly for the staff, she started this years ago,
Right.
was the Staff Appreciation Day. I
Appreciation
think
Day.
she started that like 10 years ago.
Yes.
And her and a few others would come around and give everyone a carnation. And of course, I would pass that on to my wife. Look, honey, look what I got for you today. But my wife knew. I always told her. So
She was a member of the Third Mutual Board.
yeah,
Okay. She started, or was it president of Kiwanis?
right?
She started several organizations.
Yeah.
And she was terrific. I mean, she could produce documents for
Yeah, she
assisting
could.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. She going to be very difficult to find another Denny.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to see you, sir.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.